Hello, folks, and welcome to the Kids in Comedy graduation show. I am your host, Nick Maritato. Folks, if you have never had the luxury or the delight of seeing a Kids in Comedy show, let me explain what we do here. The kids that you are about to see perform sign up for our classes, and in a matter of 8 weeks, they come up with around 4 minutes of their own stand-up comedy that they are about to perform for you live today on the internet. So a lot of work went into this, folks. They come in with their ideas and their comedic journeys in their head about what are they about to embark on. They don't know. And then they show up, the old Nicky boy and the Kids in Comedy program, and we help them kind of smush their ideas and organize them into something that sounds a little more like stand-up comedy. And then we get to perform for you fine folks. So I want you at home to give yourselves a round of applause for showing up and supporting. If you have a kid that's involved in the program, make sure that you're giving them a round of applause as well, because they really did work very, very hard. As you know, we're not doing this as a normal situation. We had to do everything over Zoom. So there's an extra hurdle on coming up with the material. And I think these kids leaped over that hurdle this session. And you are in luck because we have such a funny group of kids that are going to be performing for you today. As a matter of fact, I may even perform a little bit. You know what? Maybe, just maybe, I'll do some jokes right now. Folks, you know, there's a lot of talk out there about flattening the curve, you know? Well, I'm here to tell you that I flattened the curve personally in my own home. That curve being the number of showers I took this month. Got that number very low. Thank you very much. You know, it's actually tough to be a comedian in this world, you know? Because like all of my pre-pandemic material is worthless since we live in like a totally different world. I've actually been anticipating what the post-pandemic world would look like. And I actually came up with a few premises, all right, for a post-pandemic world that I'm going to run by you right now. Maybe they'll work, maybe they won't, but I'll be the first. I'm ahead of the curve here. Okay, here we go. Y'all know what chaps my buns when the dang robot mailman gets oil all over my Land's End PPE catalog. The new dang fall face masks are out. If you can hear me out there, President Bezos, no more mail bots, no more mail bots. I'm pretty sure most of that stuff will come true. We'll have to wait and see if I'm the most famous comedian in the world in a few months. You know, one of the most vicious pandemic symptoms, in my opinion, is the uncontrollable urge to eat all the cookies. Have you had this yet? Have you seen this? Have you had it? Also, it's popping up with chips. It goes cookies and chips, cookies and chips. It's crazy stuff. But, you know, in these times, eat them if you got them. That's what I say. And I've been eating a lot, folks, in my quarantine. I've been ordering a lot of takeout this year, more than ever before in my entire life. And that was a tough bar to set and jump over. But I did it this year. I say thank God for the delivery food apps that I have on my phone, okay? They are lifesavers. I'm a Seamless boy myself. I like the Seamless app. My favorite part about the Seamless app is right before you check out, a little box pops up for you to type in special instructions. I imagine most people say things that are helpful, you know, like use backdoor or doorbell doesn't work. What I write is usually do not judge in all caps. ... extra mayo, please, thanks. I'm actually getting kind of bored with the delivery options that these apps have, you know, on my Seamless. So I decided to mix it up a little bit. So now I order all my meals from edible arrangements. Listen, you haven't lived till you've eaten $200 worth of chocolate covered fruit. I'm telling you, for lunch, it's delicious. Best part about ordering on edible arrangements is you actually can write like yourself a little note. And what I do is I read that note in front of the driver just to show them that I'm important. You know, I'll get the note and I'll be like, oh, look at this. Who is this from? Oh, to the real sexiest man alive. Signed Brad Pitt's abs. Hey, wait a minute. They heard and they care. You know, now that time is meaningless, my goal has been to see how close I can eat breakfast and lunch and dinner. You know, I'm trying to get those windows really close because I've made a breakthrough here, folks. And that is that you do not have to wait for the sun to come up to eat breakfast again if you eat dinner fast enough. And I just say, keep it going, binge, binge, binge. I've been doing a lot of binging in my quarantine, a lot of food, also a lot of TV. Recently in my household, we've been watching a lot of the television show Survivor. That great reality show has been on for 20 years. It's great. I love it. I've noticed like a lot of similarities these days with Survivor. You know, you walk around the streets, everyone stinks. You know, everybody's wearing bandanas. Everybody's eating more rice than they ever have in their entire lives. It's actually given me a few ideas. So actually late last night, I formed an alliance with my cat and my toaster oven. And at dinner tonight, we are going to vote my girlfriend out of the apartment. She's not going to see it coming, total blindside. I'm very excited for it. I know what you're thinking. I should be counting my lucky stars that I get to quarantine with a loved one. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't. And you're right. You're right. I feel blessed to not be able to watch whatever I want to watch at all times. It's amazing. You know, I just feel like I pray every day, thank you, that I have someone yelling at me for eating Pop-Tarts over the kitchen sink. Thank you, Lord, for blessing me. Because, you know, it's tough. You know, it's every day you have a long days of stressing out, the anxiety over a pandemic. And it's nice to get home and just get in a bed and have somebody hog all the sheets. It's just really nice. Folks, I kid. And you know what? We're going to see a lot of kids doing jokes. A great transition. This is great about Zoom. I imagine I'm killing right now. Okay. I imagine it. I'm sure it's not true. But hey, I can live a little. We have a really fantastic show for you folks today. And you know what? We're going to not waste any more time. We're going to kick it off with the first comedian of the evening. She's great. You're going to love her. Give it up for Leah Breakstone. Leah, everybody. Woo! Keep it going. Thank for you. Leah.
Thank you, Nick. I'm glad we're not in person so we don't have to experience your lack of showering. Now,
you're welcome.
Let's be real, everybody. The world sucks right now. And I've kind of just been thinking to myself, how can we make the world a little bit less bad? So bear with me as I'm kind of thinking out loud here. I think we need to get rid of all commercials about the 3 Ds. Now, the 3 Ds are diabetes, diarrhea, and depression. I hate when I'm watching HGTV and my vibe is ruined instantly when those commercials come on. Going with that, let's ban all commercials about mesothelioma. I swear to God, I see about 8 of them every day. And I don't even know if mesothelioma is real at this point. Does anybody actually have mesothelioma? Like, I've never met somebody with it. I've never heard of anyone having it. Quite frankly, I don't even know what it is. And I'm convinced it's a hoax. So next, what we got to do is make all the convicted felons responsible for teaching the elderly population how to use their technology. Now we're in the 21st century. There is too much of a burden on grandchildren nowadays. So let's move that responsibility to the felons. And on a plus side of that is, you know, once the old people start asking questions like, how do I delete the contact of my friend who died 2 years ago? I'm pretty sure the felons will never want to commit another crime if that's their punishment. It's just not worth it. The next thing with the old folks, let's round them up, like herd them like sheep and throw them in a gated community in Florida, and then revoke their driver's licenses. We don't need any grandmothers crashing their brand new Mercedes on the way to the nail salon. We've been there, we've done that. It is not pretty. Now, finally, we need a ban holding doors. Let's be real, all of Gen Z already has severe social anxiety. So to make them have to make that decision of how far away is like too far is just horrible. You know, because then people are like an awkward distance away and then they have to do that weird like run, walk, hybrid shuffle. I know you know what I'm talking about. And then the person holding the door is left in that awkward situation where they're like, what do I do? Do I, God forbid, make eye contact with them? Do I like smile? I don't know. Do I just, maybe let's just look at our phone. I feel like that's the safest bet. I don't know. Maybe I've had too much time to think about all this, but I think they're pretty simple things. Again, I've definitely had a lot of time. I'm sure you all have had way too much time on your hands anyway. So to try and combat this, I decided to get an internship with somebody running for Congress. Now, basically, my job was to be a telemarketer, and I would just call a couple hundred people a day. And one of the main running points of this candidate for Congress was she was a really strong advocate for women's rights, reproductive rights, and all that. I was responsible for calling a lot of the elderly old men. It's kind of like telling somebody who's allergic to peanuts to just, try one. What's the worst thing that could happen? Because God forbid these men, their toxic masculinity is threatened. I think if women got any rights, God forbid reproductive rights, they would just go into full anaphylactic shock and just fall off of the face of the earth. And we can't have that. Sorry, women, I guess we're going to have to suffer. And then the other group that I, often encountered were the middle-aged women, the Karens. So I would usually get a few words in, and then they'll interrupt by screaming bloody murder. And they would say stuff like, take me off of this redacted list. And while you're at it, go to hell. Thank you. I really appreciated that one. And so I think that my comebacks to that are pretty good, because what I usually do is I put them on the supporter list. So they get about, average 3 calls a day from them. I feel very powerful when I have the ability to do that. And I also, when they're really mean, I'm really nice to them, because maybe just then they'll realize that they're at such a low point in their life that they feel the need to bully a 16-year-old girl just trying to get some work experience. And maybe they'll also realize that I'm going to need a lot of therapy after this traumatic encounter. And then maybe that'll show them, they'll feel bad after that one, definitely. So, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go indirectly bully some boomers. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.
Yeah, nice job, Leah. Bully those boomers. Get them. Folks, we're going to keep this show a-rolling. Your next comedian is hilarious. Round of applause in your own households for the wonderful Valerie Kim. Valerie, take it away.
Hi guys, thank you for joining us. And obviously, I'm a high school student. I go to a magnet school, which is a countywide public high school that you have to test to get into, which means that we are known as a nerd school. So being the nerd that I am, I went to a recent debate tournament a couple months ago to a normal regular town high school, and my mind was blown. I saw guys walking down the hallways with varsity Letterman jackets and girls chasing them around who I assumed were cheerleaders. And I could not believe those rom-com chick flicks on Netflix actually happened in real life. Because at my school, what the kids like to do is they strut around in oversized lab coats and those ugly protective goggles that you have to wear since the 6th grade science class and think that they're going to find a cure for cancer. I also know that in high school, you have a lot of sports going on. So there's a lot of rivalry. There's homecoming, there's pep rallies. At my school, we haven't won a single football game in 4 years. And that's got to be worse for the recent graduates at my school who didn't even have prom or a real graduation. So instead, we have the math team and the debate team. The math team's really good. They actually compete internationally. I guess the US isn't good enough for them for that. And so they've gone to Korea and Bulgaria in the past years. Korea, I would understand, but Bulgaria, really? Maybe that's because I'm a little uneducated. And so for the debate team, it's also really competitive as well. I've tried out for the varsity debate team 2 years in a row, and I have not gotten onto that team 2 years in a row. A usual high school team for sports, if you tried out the second year, they'd at least put your name on the roster and then bench you the entire year. But at my school, they just cut you. They just don't care about our feelings at all. I'm also in the program, a youth military program called the Naval Sea Cadet Corps. It's kind of like the Boy Scouts, but there's a little bit of military involvement in it, and we get to wear the military uniform, etc. Before you start making judgments, we are not a program that has kids who have set their siblings' hair on fire, run away from home, or have crashed their parents' new Porsche because they were drinking under the influence. Instead, we have kids who have used butter to shine their boots and eat toothpaste for dessert. So you guys all know the saying, you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, you could definitely judge a secret by their hair. There are a lot of hair regulations because it is a military program, but there's a lot of room for variety. So for the males, who are the boys, you have the slouch, the buzz, and the sweep. The slouch is the kid who doesn't follow hair regulations. He's always half asleep, and I can guarantee you when he's marching, he's going to be slouching. Then you have the buzz. The buzz has a really short buzz cut. He's practically bald, and you know for a fact he has no life outside of that program because that haircut can't look good anywhere else. Not that it does in the program either. And he's the type who has the Navy regulations memorized word for word, and his number one pick for movie night is going to be a 3-hour-long aircraft carrier documentary. Then you have the sweeps. The sweeps are the opposite of the buzz. They somehow manage to style their hair like the most recent social media celebrities, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or Tumblr. And they are usually in the program to wear the uniform and get the girls. So moving on to the girls, the females, we have the bob, the helmet, and the ditz. So the bob, self-explanatory, she has a bob. You don't notice her, you don't know she's there until she taps you on the shoulder to ask for some random object like a pen or pencil. And I've never met a bob who knows what she's doing. Then you have the helmet. She ties her hair back so tightly in a bun and puts on so much gel that her hair is practically a helmet. She's a real badass. She's scarier than most of the guys, but once you get to know her, she's a real softie. Then you have the dits. The dits are the girls that the sweep get during trainings, which are summer programs that our program offers, and then dumps a week later. She's only in the program to get a boy in uniform. Thank you, and I hope that wasn't too funny.
Nicely done, Valerie. Give it up for Valerie, everybody. Oh, folks, are you enjoying the show out there? We can only assume that you are. But I imagine you are. And if you do enjoy this show, make sure you check out all of our shows over on the Kids in Comedy YouTube account. You can check that out right now, kidsincomedy.com, all that stuff. Folks, our next comedian is so funny. He's so interesting, and you're going to love him. Give it up for Thomas Darman Sanger. Get him, Thomas.
Hey guys, what is going on? I hope you all are having an amazing day. Yes, I cannot read social cues. Let's just segue into this terrible, terrible garbage I have whipped up. I call this one Midnight ADD. Does your mind like to jump around topics with loosely connected ideas to the point where you can't even recollect what your original idea was, or is that just an ADD thing? What am I saying? Of course it is. Okay, let's story time here. Let me set the scene here. You are in bed. It's dark. You don't know what time it is or how many eons have passed since you last put down your phone. Panicked, your brain urges you to check the same Twitter feed you did probably 2 years ago. But you promised yourself that you would force yourself to enter slumber. Back to narration. Now that you get the idea of the position you're in, let's inner monologue. God damn. What time is it? Maybe I should check. No! Oh god, see, God. I wonder what Jimmy Jane is up to. I wonder if she still remembers that time I was her science partner in the 3rd grade, and I made her get an F on her mitosis lab. I should probably call her. No, just must keep my eyes closed. Wait, did Jimmy Jane die of choking on a Vienna sausage? Hold on. Come to think of it, I haven't seen a Vienna sausage in 6 years. Wait up. Oh. Wasn't it 6 years ago that I purposefully photobombed Lin-Manuel Miranda? Lin-Manuel Miranda was in Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton is on the $10 bill, and it costs $10 to buy a movie ticket in Alabama. Alabama has the highest naughties rate, and naughties are a sin, and sins make you go to hell. Oh my God, that's where I'm going. I'm going to hell. Sorry, Miss Jennifer, I didn't mean to accidentally call you Mom. And it was at this moment I remembered how Sensei taught me how to use my ADD. What was I talking about? Let's segue here. Now that you're done with all that mischief, let's segue into a story about sunburns. Skin cells. I call this one skin cell suicide. Before I tell you the story, let me just put you into the position I was in. You're on a kayak with nothing but electric motor and two paddles facing 20-mile-an-hour winds. The sun is beating down on you, and home is on the other end of the river, and the wind is blowing in the opposite direction. Finally, you decide that the winds are too strong and decide to bark at a random person's dock, which is at this point you call your mom to pick you up. She drives you home and all is well, until that night. Switching to the first person here, I haven't gotten a sunburn in a very long time, and at first I didn't notice it until that night when my skin started to peel. Now switching to the perspective of my skin cells. All right, troops. The UV rays got our neck and both shoulders. We have done all we can do to fight them off. The only way we can not become cancerous is to initiate protocol final dance. But sir, protocol final dance is suicide. It's mass suicide. I know. It's the only chance we have left. It was at that moment millions of skin cells took their lives to avoid becoming cancerous, and all that remains are their peeling corpses. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you like and subscribe, and I hope you remember to wear your seatbelt, don't starve your children, and eat raw meat.
Give it up for Thomas, everybody. And you know what? You got to give it up for Thomas. He even gave you some bonus tips at the end of his set, which I really feel I was already following. But maybe some of you out there weren't. So make sure you heed his advice. Folks, this show has been so funny so far that it's almost like we should just quit now. But you know what? We're not gonna. We're going to keep it rolling, and the funny is going to follow. This next comedian, boy, oh boy, you're in for a treat. Give it up for the hilarious Usher Cohen, everybody. Usher!
Hey, guys. So last week I watched the movie Desperately Seeking Susan, and it was not good. So recently, lots of people have been talking about how there's a lot of pressure to create artistic masterpieces during quarantine. And sometimes, masterpieces come from interesting places. Like the other day, I was in the laundromat, and the thing about quarantine is people are supposed to stay 6 feet away from each other at all times. And staying 6 feet away in such a crowded environment requires a little bit of finesse. I personally have had to jump, duck, and roll just to get the privilege of wearing clean shirts. But rather than let this get me down, I decided to let it fuel my artistic drive. So without further ado, let me present to you the first ever viewing of Hell Knows I Need Clean Clothes, an interpretive dance showcasing the struggle of doing laundry during quarantine. I see the opening and whisper, we're going in. I attempt to put my clothes into the washer without touching the sides. I struggle to move throughout the store while social distancing. I attempt to operate the change machine without using my hands. I frantically stuff my clothes into the bag, knowing that each second I continue, I risk getting the virus. I use my bag as a shield against the virus and move out of the store. And with that, I am free to clean my clothes another day. So a few weeks ago, I decided to go on a quest for bodily improvement. So I subscribed to a few YouTube body coaches. And a body coach is just a personal trainer with a spicier name. And I tried a few different channels and I noticed some trends from among the body coaches. First of all, if you're in the body coach biz, you gotta wear your hat sideways. It's rule number one. Then once you've mastered that, you must never take it off. Another thing I noticed about the coaches is they always come up with strange names for their moves, like, all right, guys, we're about to get into one of my favorite moves of all time, the Angry Shopper. Now let's go all the way to Manhattan for Empire State Building. For our last move of the day, we're gonna do something that's great for your core, the cuckoo clock. And another thing I noticed about the coaches is they'll kind of subtly insult you throughout the video, like, all right, people, let's get into squats, work out those legs for the first time in years. Woo! And the last thing I noticed is that in the first episode, all of the coaches will give you crazy examples of physical feats you're going to be able to achieve after completing the class. Like, after doing this class, you're going to get so jacked. You're going to be able to punch a hole straight through a wall and not feel a thing. You're going to be able to squeeze the milk right out of the almonds with your bare hands, people. It's going to be crazy. And you know, I have not yet been able to open a pickle jar using merely my thighs. But I'm figuring one of these days it's going to come. Thank you so much. You guys have been a great audience.
Wow. Usher, everybody. He don't know what he just did. He just lit the room on fire with those moves. I'm going to, as soon as this show is over, I'm going to go to my local laundromat and do exactly what Usher did. And that includes the body coach stuff. Right? I'm including it all. But Desperately Seeking Susan not being a good show? Hey now. Folks, I feel like this show could end right now and we'd be fine. But then you would be getting ripped off because we still have a bunch of hilarious comedy. And one of those comedians is coming up right now. You're gonna love her. Give it up for Sally Ray Emke, everybody. Oh, Sally.
Howdy. Welcome to the theater of my mind. Here I quest to find comedy and deliver it hot and ready straight to your brain hole. But what is comedy? As a wise woman once said, all comedy is derived from fear. So I thought, why not take it a step further and cut out the middleman? Here we go, friends. Roombas. Let's talk about Roombas. The house-trained vacuums, the maids, but without the cute frilly dresses that makes maids cool, the robots of the floor. I've been thinking about these noble creatures. I've come to a few conclusions. Dust, as you know, is mostly our dead skin cells. This means that the average Roomba's diet consists of almost entirely human skin, but they have never had it fresh. Do you think that Roombas ever look up at us, lounging on the sofa as they dutifully wash our floors and wonder what it's like fresh off the bone? Because I do. And that's where you come in. Welcome to my new Kickstarter, Give Roombas Teeth. Together we will revolutionize the way we look at Roombas. In terror and horror. For a small donation of even one tooth, you can support this cause. But let's be real, you can spare a lot more than one, can't you? We are trying to contact the Tooth Fairy for a sizable donation, but unfortunately the smart fridge that he uses to store his teeth have started using those teeth for chewing up all the employees that pass by, so negotiations are ongoing. We can arm every single Roomba on this planet. Roombas have worked for us for so long, tirelessly cleaning up our floors and asking for nothing in return. Now it is time to give back. Still skeptical? Let's look at the science behind it. Roombas work with spinning brooms. By adding teeth to the bristles, they become perfect grinding machines with spinning blades. This also gives Roombas a distinctive call, the sickening sound of grinding meat against metal. We will play the part of evolution on these noble suck turtles, making them the well-adapted predators that they need to be in order to survive in the wild. A perk for Kickstarters is that we will give you a broom to clean your floors with, you idiot. Plus, you won't need pets anymore because the only thing that cats and dogs can do that Roombas can't is bite and hurt you. And now they can't even do that, making them the perfect pet. But if you're really attached to your furry friend or worried that your pets are not going to be able to defend themselves, because they will not at all, then do I have a Kickstarter for you. Give cats hands. That way they can hold a Glock. It's time to once and for all make the world a worse place to live in. Give Roombas teeth, because they deserve it. Please mail all of your teeth donations in an envelope addressed straight to hell. My brain is a terrifying place to live, and I wish you all a swift recovery from this visit.
Wow. Keep it going for Sally, folks. She's completely melted. I'll tell you what right now. Sally, if you're listening, I really would like you to send me a transcript, email me a transcript of that set so I have something to scare my future children with. That was wonderful. Folks, we got some more comedy coming up for you. I want you guys to give a healthy round of applause, and I mean healthy. Put your masks on for this next comedian. Folks, you're gonna love him. Sam Snoddy. Sam, take it away. Sam, I think you're muted. Hey, Zoom bits, folks. What are you gonna do, right? Sometimes we're muted. Still nothing, Sam. Maybe have you done something with your earpiece, your Bluetooth? That does look as though, oh, okay, it's one of those things. I hear how it goes. It did look like a Bluetooth circa 2002, which I would have said, hey, give me one of those. Sam, let's do a little test. Say, hey. Got nothing, Sam. Sam, here's what we're gonna do, Sam. I'm going to move on to the next comedian, and you are gonna just take a look and see what's going on with your sound. If I knew anything about technology, I probably still couldn't help you out because I'm over here and you're over there. Such is life. Such is life. What if I just showed up in Sam's screen and just plugged it in and then showed back up over here? And you'd be like, wait a minute, are they all in the same room? And then I guess that someone would call the cops on me. I don't know how it works. I haven't been out of my house in what seems like years. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to move on to our next comedian. We're going to go right back to Sam. Don't you worry. Sam's hilariously crafted material will be coming right out of your screens and right in your brains soon enough. But next up, this is great. You're going to love what's up because it's a comedian and she's fantastic. Give it up for the fabulous Lauren White. Give it up for Lauren, folks. Clap it up in your homes. Or if you're watching in your car, I feel bad for you.
Hey everyone. So like many of you, the school year just ended for me and it's crazy. I actually just graduated even though I am frequently mistaken for a 12-year-old. But like towards the end of the school year, they really tried to like preserve all of our end of year traditions and festivities and just like move them onto Zoom. But some of those just did not work out ideally. Like we had field day on Zoom, which featured really fun activities like how many shirts can you fold in 1 minute, or run laps around your bedroom, but don't hit those ankles on the bed frame. But like everyone knows that field day is like never about the athletics, like the sports. It's about forgetting to put on sunscreen and getting a weird sunburn up your arm and having to hide it from your mom, or gasping in horror as you see your scrawny English teacher in shorts for the first time. Like, oh my God, go back to Jane Austen, you scrawny raisin. We also had our graduation on Zoom, but like graduation was just never about like getting a diploma or hearing speeches from your principal that have multiple lyrics to Journey songs in them. It's about like praying that you don't trip and fall in those high heels that your mom were like really not loving in the store, but you promised you'd be able to walk in on the day of. It's about hearing someone's grandma hack up a lung the second that everyone else becomes incredibly silent. And look, they even had us do like chorus online, which I don't know if you know this, but there is a huge difference between being a mediocre singer in a choir and being a mediocre singer belting the alto 2 harmony in your bathroom alone. Like, there's just so much you don't really get with an online school. I mean, how am I going to replace the cafeteria food, all those PE teachers that have just way too much enthusiasm, or all of my awkward encounters with the Spanish teacher who walked in on me twerking in 7th grade? And look, I know what you're thinking, a 7th grader twerking, that's crazy. But you know what? You are lying if you're telling me that the verb gustar doesn't get you going just a little bit. No? Just me? Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like I've kind of like lost all sense of time during this quarantine. Like I basically just wait all day until Jeopardy comes on so that I know it's 7 o'clock. I am a huge Jeopardy fan, like most 18-year-olds. But what I love the most is that Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune come on back to back every night, because I can't think of more polar opposite TV shows. Like, I don't know if you believe me, but like, let's just start with the contestants. Like, the people on Jeopardy, they come on like always wearing that like sweater vest that they knitted themselves. Like, I've got 7 master's degrees and now get to shush teens who are hooking up in a library. But the people on Wheel of Fortune, like they come on just so excited to like maybe be on TV or win an all-inclusive 7-day stay at Margaritaville, Key West, $6,427. But like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the bright lights or Vanna White's irresistible charm, but like these contestants all turn into the worst versions of themselves. Like they're always like, hi, my name's Tammy Greensville. I'm a loving aunt from Fort Lauderdale. For my job, I'm an administrative administrator and an administration. But in my free time, I like to wear colored blazers and watch Bravo. In the audience, of course, I've got my great uncle and his estranged stepdaughter. So let's spin the wheel. Woo! But like even the hosts, like those are so different. Alex Trebek, oh, love him. He's just such a straight-laced guy. Like he probably like reads when he's going to bed. He wears a tie every episode. But Pat Sajak, that man, like he creeps me out. He looks like he's been wearing a toupee since he was like 3 years old. And he always unbuttons his shirt just enough so you can see his like leathery neck rolls sticking out. And like, look, you cannot convince me that Vanna White is there of her own will. But seriously, like, I mean, we all watch Jeopardy to prove our smarts, to prove that like it was worth it to take Latin in high school for all those years. But like Wheel of Fortune, you watch in the hopes that someone will screw up with like only one letter left in the puzzle. Like, oh my God, it's obviously slam dunk. Why would it be clam dunk? Are you kidding me? Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your show.
All right, Lauren, that set was a clam dunk.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Hashtag save Vanna. We want to make sure that she's safe and home and away from that creep Pat and those neck rolls of his. Keep them tucked. Folks, we have a fantastic comedian up. And as a matter of fact, you've seen his face. But what does his voice sound like? Ooh, it's a mystery. Some say he pulled that stunt before on purpose for anticipation. Others say he probably didn't, and it was a mic issue. Either or, this set is going to be fantastic. Give it up for the hilarious Sam Snotty. Sam, you're up. Knock 'em dead. Get him, Sam. Keep it going, Sam. Now, it seems to me, folks, that Sam, we can't hear you. What I want you to do is take those headphones out completely. I want you to change whatever, turn your Bluetooth off and use the standard mic on your computer. Sure. Are you going to be able to do your classic, is this thing on bit? No, you won't be able to do that. Now you're just completely frozen. You know, what I love, hear me out, what I love about a live Zoom to the internet is anything can happen. All right? And usually those things are technical problems that ruin the show. But I'll tell you what, we're not going to stop here, folks, because we have another fantastic comedian that is up. And Sam's going to log in and log out, and then he's going to come in, he's going to knock your pants off. And it's fine for that to happen because you should be in your own homes. Once again, if you're in your car, please disregard that last comment. Keep those pants on. Now, we have a special treat, usually saved for the very end. This man is the intern for our show. He came through the Kids in Comedy program himself. He is a wonderful man. He's hilarious. He helps these kids write all these jokes. He gives great notes. He hosts our shows when we do our pro shows, which you can check a couple of those on the Kids in Comedy YouTube account. And you're about to hear his wonderful stand-up comedy right now. Give it up for the hilarious Luca Libera. Fingers crossed this works. Luca! Hey, Luca, I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're good. What's up, guys? I'm the intern, Luca. I'm happy to be here. This quarantine has been rough. A lot of, different rules. Like, I get that we're supposed to be washing our hands more often. My question is when we're going to be allowed to shower again. I'm not fully sure right now. But, it's been cool. This class has been awesome. Everybody here, super talented, been fun. Zoom classes are a little weird, though. I was taking a Zoom class for my college a couple weeks ago, and I was in class, and I had my video on, but I had the teacher like completely on mute, and I was like watching TV while the class was going on. And I look at my video, and the teacher is raising her hand. So I figure out she's like probably polling the class or something. I'm gonna raise my hand too. And then I unmute her to see what I'm volunteering for. And she's like, oh, okay, so just Luca then. So Luca, how long have you been a fan of Beyonce? Oh, I guess I'm that guy now. So that's the type of guy I've been in class lately, the Beyonce fan. It's been good. There are some advantages to Zoom, I guess, especially for stand-up. You can use some funny virtual backgrounds. For example, I'm going to do a joke using some virtual backgrounds for you guys now. So I'm from Brazil, guys. Usually when I say that at a show, I get some sort of response at the end of the show. For example, last time I did it, this guy came up to me after the show. He's like, oh, you're from Brazil? That's cool. What part of Brazil are you from? And I was like, São Paulo. And he was like, well, you don't say that like you're from Brazil. Because I was supposed to be like São Paulo, I don't know, something like that. And but this guy, like, he wouldn't. Hang on, let me make sure this background. Yeah. Whoa. Yes. Okay, that's a little better. This guy was talking to me. He like wouldn't give it up. He's like, "Are you actually from Brazil? Like, do you even speak the language?" He was like getting all worked up about it. He's like, "I hate when people say they're from Brazil, but they're not actually from Brazil. Prove it. Prove you're from Brazil." So I robbed him, That's what I did with that. It was cool, but it's tough being all online these days, especially tough for dating. Felt like I was in a good place at my college, you know, at NYU. But now everything's got to be over Snapchat. And Snapchat sucks because you have to be the most interesting person in the world at all times when you're snapping a girl. Like every time you snap a girl, you can't just be like, oh, I'm just, you know, got this boring life. Every time they ask you what's up, you got to send the most impressive Snapchat. You got to hit them with like this, you know, just got done fighting a bear. What about you? Then you can't just do that. You also have to show like your intellectual side. Let's say she asks you what you're doing. You got to hit them with the nothing much, just attempting to cure cancer. It's tough. It's always the stuff you got to be doing when you're on this Zoom and Snapchat type thing. I mean, what else? I got my driver's license though. I've been driving around a lot. Way too easy to get a driver's license in the US, and you can get it way too young. Like literally getting a driver's license in the US, you can walk up to the clerk at the DMV. You're like, hello, I'd like to drive this 2-ton killing machine, please. And he's like, okay, are you 18? You know, is your brain fully developed? And you're like, nope, 16. And he's like, all right, you drive a hard bargain, but here are my keys. And then he hands you keys to his car, essentially, is how you get a driver's license in the US. Well, then you actually have to take the written test, multiple choice test. I was studying like all night for this written test. I show up to the DMV the next day. First question I get, if you're driving drunk, your judgment is A, impaired, B, not. That was it. That was the entire question. And you only need to get 75% to pass, so you don't even have to get that right. You could just be driving and not know the effects of alcohol on the human body. But you know, there was that, and then I tried to get my license in Brazil before that, but they're way more strict about the road test there. For example, when I was taking my road test for the first time, I failed because I parked too close to the curb. Not touching, too close. I failed because I did too good of a job, essentially. Like, for example, Lauren, would you say you're a good student?
I mean, none of the teachers are here, so I'll say yes.
All right, so you're expelled. That's how that works at the Brazilian DMV. Thanks for the participation, Lauren. Appreciate that. And you know, then I ended up getting my road test, doing the road test in the US. Then I passed that one, and I just remember like driving home after the road test. I was listening to the radio, and I heard about this like big crash that happened on the on the highway. Like nobody got injured, but pretty much a guy was like driving drunk, like ended up hitting the railing. It was like this big pile up. I was just thinking like what was going through this guy's head. Like he was at a bar with his buddies that night, just like drinking, goes to his car, sits down, you know, his vision starts to get a little blurry, and he's like, oh, I think my judgment might be a little impaired. Oh, that's what I got wrong on the written test. Of course. All right, guys, that's been my set. Thank you so much.
All right. Fantastic set. Luca, thank you so much for all you do here at the Kids in Comedy program. Good stuff. I love it. Yeah, I remember having to get my license. It was an odd situation. I remember getting my learner's permit was strange, more strange. I grew up in New Jersey, and you have to have 6 hours of driving with like one of these instructors, which I always found to be a little odd, where they're like, it's super unsafe for you, a 16-year-old, to be learning how to drive by yourself. So what we're going to do is take you, a kid, and put you in this weird stranger's car, and then just let him drive you around for 6 hours. What happens in there? I don't know. No one knows. There's no supervision. Just get in there. Just get in that car. And you get in the car and you're like, is this the guy? And your parents are like, I don't know. Just get in the car. Okay. Don't you want to learn how to drive? And yes, I had 3 separate permit instructors, and each one of them was weirder than the next. If you ever want to know what an old white man's thoughts are on life, just let them drive you around for like a few hours. And I'll tell you what, turns out old white guys don't have great opinions. I think we're all figuring that out right now. Guess what? We got one more comic for you. Sure. Have you seen him 6 or 7 times today? Yeah, you have. But that's just the anticipation. I know this guy planned this. I know this was all a stunt just so he could close our show off. And I'm fine with it because he's funny. So I want you to finally give a round of applause to your next comedian. He's so funny. Sam Snoddy, everybody. Fingers crossed. Sam, take it away. Yes.
Audio test? Okay, nice.
Let's go.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Sorry, my computer crashed whenever I tried doing it. But yes, we'll get to the comedy now. Hi, everyone. You have seen me before. You have not heard me before. But yeah. So for the past like 4 months, I've been quarantined together with my sisters. And other than like the past couple weeks, we haven't really seen anyone other than each other and my parents, which is cool, you know, like we're getting closer, but it's almost like we're getting a little like too close. We're almost turning into each other. Like my youngest sister, she's 5 years old. She started talking like me and my older sister. My older sister is 22. Yeah, so she's saying stuff like sick and lit and abolish billionaires. And she also abandoned Peppa Pig for my summer reading of Animal Farm. And the worst part is that she has to text the rest of the family what she's doing at least like 3 times a day to just keep us updated with her because we don't see her enough during the day, of course. Like at 6 p.m., she'll be like, Sam, it is dinner time, and then a bunch of food emojis. And then at like 9 p.m., she'll be like, Sam, it is night, sleep, good night, nighttime. And then a bunch of bed emojis. And then at like 3 a.m., it's like, Sam, help, I summoned a demon emoji. So yeah, I'm also kind of turning into my oldest sister. I've been saying stuff like peace out and doing like this. Like no one's done that since like 2012. And my sleep schedule is like a college student. I'm going to sleep at like 2 a.m. every day. And of course, me and my oldest sister are also turning into the little one. Instead of like when we like get into an argument, instead of like talking it out, you know, like we used to, we just pout and fight and hit each other and punch each other. Yeah. So we also left the city. We're in Long Island now, and we're at a house, and it's nice. We have like, it's at the Hamptons, as you can see behind me. And it's nice, you know, we have like a backyard and a pool and everything. But the house is like a little too Caucasian for my tastes. Like there are quotes on the walls. They're not even like hanging on the walls. They're just painted directly onto the walls. Like there's one in my room, and it says, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's learning to dance in the rain. And the quote it's in like every letter's in like a different font and all in like a different size. And also the quote doesn't make like any sense. Like if we had to choose between Drenched and Netflix, I think everyone here would rather have Netflix. And we also have sequin pillows here, which I hate those things. Who took like a nice soft cuddly pillow and was like, you know, it would be a good idea if we just put up these tiny hard plastic things on it. And there's also a shrine to the father of the family that we're renting from, which is uncomfortable. I don't want strangers staring at me as I go to sleep. And there's also a hallway with dolls in it, which I don't even have any words for that. They're just terrifying. So I thought a pitch for a horror movie that's set in this house. There's a guy, he's like 16, 17 years old, and he invites some friends to the house for a party. And after the party, a couple people stay over, and one of them goes to the dad shrine. And he says the words, follow your dreams, follow your dreams, follow your dreams 3 times in a row. And then the dad materializes out of one of the pictures, and he like brings the dolls to life. And like, I don't know what happens in horror movies. I've seen like 2 of them, but yeah. And then like they chase all the kids around, and then they like force them all to sleep on sequin pillows or something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've got a hit movie on my hands. Thank you. You've all been great. And remember, abolish billionaires.
Of course. Give it up for Sam, everybody. Worth the wait. I love it. I hope all you other comedians heed his advice that he did non-verbally, which is let the audience wait for him, because it's gonna punch you over the head with the comedy once we get to hear that voice. Folks, that has been our show. I want to thank everybody here who is watching for attending this meeting. I want to thank all of the comedians that you saw here today. I want to say thank you to Leah. I want to say thank you to Sally, Valerie, Thomas, Sam, Lauren. I want to say thank you to Luca, Asher, everybody that you saw here today. Our wonderful teacher's assistant, Emma. Thank you so much, Emma. Emma gives these kids hilarious comedy advice, great notes. She also helps out with absolutely everything that I don't know how to do and refuse to learn. And I want to thank you, Emma, for that. You're always amazing. I want to thank Stu and Joanne, the directors of the program, for setting this whole thing up and keeping this program going in these weird times. And I think it's been a success. I want to thank Matt, our tech guy. Matt, we would not be here without Matt. He has smoothed over all of the technical capabilities, and it's very, very important behind the scenes stuff. And I want to once again thank you guys for showing up. Make sure you attend all the Kids in Comedy shows virtually. And when we get back in the old comedy clubs, come and check out a live show too. Kidsincomedy.com. If your kids want to sign up for summer classes, we got them going on right now, folks. You can sign up for our second session, which starts a week from Monday. Our third session, which starts 3 weeks from Monday. If your kid wants to learn how to do stand-up comedy, send them our way, kidsincomedy.com. It's a lot of fun over there. We have a blast. So what we are going to do now is wave goodbye until this stream goes away. So kids, wave goodbye endlessly. Goodbye.
Look like a cult.
Keep waving or you won't get paid. You hear me?
Awesome.